Hello and welcome to Cricket O-Mania. The question we are asking today is, should Ravi Shastri continue as Director Cricket or Cricket Director? There are 3 or 4 reasons. Let's start with the fourth one first. Ayaz, Memon, why do you think he should continue as Cricket Director?
Well, there is a suggestion actually, what I understand is coming from the team itself, that he should continue because the World Cup is just about 6 months away and he seems to have had some kind of an influence. I think the role he can play is basically that of a motivator, you know. He's made it very clear that the coach is still Duncan Fletcher, which means Fletcher will be there in the World Cup. The captain is obviously
And
Dhoni.
he heaped a lot of praise on Duncan Fletcher.
He heaped a lot of praise on Duncan Fletcher, and a lot of players heaped a lot of praise on Ravi Shastri, from you know, Suresh Raina to Shikhar Dhawan to Dhoni himself. So it seems like it's become a good, nice, happy family back again because they won the one-day series. But if it leads to some kind of chemistry which helps the team perform better, I think it's good. It must be remembered, one-day cricket is very different from test cricket.
Exactly. So, if you look at the 3 types of cricket played, we've lost 2 out of 3. I mean, we've only won.
We lost the T20 game
as well,
and we lost the last ODI game. So actually, we didn't finish the tour on a high, like it seemed we might, having won 3 matches on the trot.
Right. So, and we've also got Shishir, Hattangadi, former Bombay captain. We've got cricket enthusiast and columnist Dilip D'Souza and cricket enthusiast Navaneetha also joining us right now. Shishir, let me come to you. So, we're trying to get 4 or 5 reasons why Ravi Shastri should be retained as director of cricket. What's your sense? Shishir?
I think you lost Shishir.
Okay. Dilip, do you want to go? We'll come back to Shishir. Dilip, do you think Ravi Shastri should be...
Shishir and Ravi are buddies, huh?
They're buddies. So we'll get a good answer there.
Well,
Dilip?
I don't know Ravi from Adam, so maybe I can offer. No, actually, I don't have any problem with Ravi Shastri, but I don't think he should remain because I feel like that means there's no accounting going to happen for this disaster of this tour. You know, it is already assumed that Dhoni is going to be captain, and I think that should be under question because I don't think I think the victory in the ODI series just papered over what was really a disastrous tour by any. I mean, and I think that should be accounted for, and I don't think that's going to happen with Ravi Shastri in there.
Okay, you're saying that we should not forget that we lost the Test series, and in some ways you're placing more emphasis on the fact that we lost the Test series rather than the fact that we won the ODI series.
I think that's a much greater disaster than the triumph of the ODI series.
Okay,
it's just a greater examination of the cricketers.
Right.
No, I completely agree. I think in many ways this tour was more disappointing than the one in 2011 where we were actually whitewashed. This time we won 1 match at Lord's. So, and it was a very good win. But from that, the high of that win to go on and lose 3 matches in succession with a team which is not aging, which Dhoni said is young and promising, to lose so badly was a major disappointment. I don't think, you know, you can compare apples and oranges. ODIs, the team is not bad, we know it. And England, I think the emphasis of the Indian cricket establishment on ODIs and the lack of emphasis of the English cricket establishment on ODIs became very evident. They are looking at Test cricket to promote, you know, their cricket, and we are still grappling, you know, with ODI cricket and saying, look at us, yeah, we've done extremely well. So I think that's the big difference between the 2 teams.
And we lost the T20 series,
the T20
match as well.
Yeah, it was a one-off close match, but we lost it.
Okay, great. So we're going to come back to what is a coach and why should a coach be important. Of course, we know why it should be important, but we should address that question as we have addressed this in the case of Duncan Fletcher a little while ago. I don't know, Shishir, if you're back, do you want to go with on why we need Shastri around?
Shishir?
Okay. So
I'm sorry, I'm just not able to hear you, but I think with time I'll be okay. What's your question?
Yeah, Shishir, the question is, do you think we need Ravi Shastri around as director cricket or basically the equivalent of the coach?
Well, for some reason he seems to have done the right things and results have shown that. Now, whether it's Ravi's doing or whether it's just that you know, we are such a good one-day team, it's fallen into place, and yes, we can attribute some of the success to Ravi's presence in the dressing room. So, for starters, I believe that, you know, when things go right, whatever be the reason, one needs to credit people who've been there behind the scenes. In this case, obviously, Ravi's been there and he's been inducted as director cricket. So they could have been a positive effect in the dressing room with his presence. The fact that having seen Ravi operate, that he instills a lot of confidence. He backs players to come out and perform. Uh, when they're down, they obviously know that they can go to him with a problem. So all in all, I think it's been a positive inclusion into the dressing room. If really, I mean, to answer your question, does Ravi love his voice in the commentary box more, or does the BCCI love his voice more in the dressing room? Is a call that they will have to take.
Right. Okay. Navneet, any questions or anything you want to aim towards either Ayaz or Shishir?
Yeah, I'm just going to add on to what Ayaz said, and I think if the team is benefiting from him being there in the dressing room, I think he should continue. But what is going to be really important is to see if he's going to expand his scope to Test cricket as well. Like if Ravi Shastri can hang on and follow the team up to Australia as well, and wait to see how results come out of that tour, I think then we probably might have an answer on what exactly the role that Shastri is playing in the team and how is it different from Fletcher. And also if there is a need for someone to play the role of what Shastri is doing as well. But I think it's important that it goes into the realm of something which we're not really good at, and that's Test cricket overseas.
So I just thought I might share with Govind and Shishir and Dilip and everybody else and Navaneetha here that I spoke to Ravi a couple of times while he was in England. A, when he was doing commentary for Sky, and then B, when he was cricket director. Essentially, and I think that should really be the case, essentially his task was to suss out what went wrong in the Test series and prepare a report, like a white paper. It was not just to go out there and say that, oh, I'll make the team win in the ODIs. Knowing him personally, he's a gung-ho kind of a guy who, even if he's down and out, he'll raise one leg up and say, I'm still standing. So he's that kind of a personality, which is very good, he's positive. But now, when he comes back, I would like to see what is the report he submits and what needs to be put into place to ensure that India start doing well, not just in one-day cricket, because otherwise then why go and play a Test series?
Correct, yeah.
Also, what needs to be done for Test cricket? Now, you can keep saying our team was inexperienced, but so was England's team. Barring 4 players, Cook, Anderson, Broad and maybe Matt Pryor for a while, or Bell, the rest were all new, which is pretty much the case with us. So we can't keep making these excuses wherever we go overseas and say, but we are inexperienced. I don't think it cuts any ice any further.
Right. So let's address a very quick fundamental question, as we've been trying to do in the past with Duncan Fletcher as well. What is the role of a coach for the Indian team at this point of time? How critical is it? What should that coach possess?
I think the coach's role has become more and more important in modern day cricket. In the past, there were no coaches. There was a captain. He was the be-all and end-all. But having said that, because there's so much happening in the life of a modern cricketer and they need to be a little more compartmentalized, I personally think that Fletcher, at least in the Test series, flopped with his support staff. I mean, the number of catches we dropped is enough indication that there's been no improvement, there's no movement from point A to B over the last 3 years. You don't have a specialist slip fielder. For 2 years, since Dravid and Lakshman have retired, they have not been able to identify slip fielders who will stand there. And I think that's really the fault of the coach as much as it is of the captain.
Right.
Because he leads the team on the field.
Right.
So I think that these are things that need to be addressed. And if Fletcher has been kind of, reneging on his duty, then he needs to be told that. In which way? That's up to the board.
Right. Okay, Shishir, what's your sense? I mean, this is a more conceptual or an academic question. What do we need the coach for at this point of time, and what should that coach be delivering to the Indian team and to that, by extension, to the Indian viewing and participating public?
I'm a little old-fashioned, I must confess.
Sure.
In that fashion, the only time I believe an Indian team needs a coach is to travel from the hotel to the ground and back. That's the only time you need a coach, and it's a four-wheeler, not so much in terms of sorting out their technique or what we need actually at stage is somebody who can motivate, who can strategize, and then you'll have the backroom staff who could organize sessions, because at the end of the day it's the captain who's empowered to select his team, take the best 11 on the ground, and of course be accountable for results. So a coach is a backroom operator who might take credit, who may not get credit for a team's performance. I really believe that this having a motivator, having somebody who can strategize with the captain, speak the same language as the players and understand their problems is probably more important and needed in today's environment. And that is where I believe that Ravi Shastri has a huge role to play. Like I said again, I'm reiterating myself. It's a choice Ravi will have to make about his love for his own voice in the commentary box, as against in the dressing room. And that's something that the BCCI needs to think about very closely and ensure that, I mean, come on, coaches do help you in a sense. But I think that's more at the grassroots level, at the India level, and probably, at a level just below the highest level of cricket, and that is Test cricket.
Right.
So to me, it's a redundant position. It's a position that is cosmetic, and at the same time very highly paid, because at the end of the day, he's the favorite whipping boy of the public if the team does badly. If the team does well, there you go. The captain takes all the credit, and the coach just watches everybody pass by, and that to me is a little unfair on the coach too.
Okay, let's get to sort of more conceptual views. Dilip, do you want to go first?
At one level, I agree with what Shishir has been saying. I think the captain gets all the credit when things go well, but I really think in this particular series, it's the captain who hasn't really got the flack for things going badly. You talked about slip feeding. I think Dhoni, whose role in the team was, he came into the team as a wicket keeper, and we're not really paying attention to the fact that apart from the slip fielding, his wicket keeping has gone so bad. It's so poor these days. He doesn't go for catches. He seems to just hang around there. And it's not made up for by either his captaincy or his batting was phenomenal, but it doesn't make up for the fact that he's not, I don't think, doing enough as a captain or as a wicket keeper. And I think the tests really brought that out much more than ODIs and T20s can. And I think that has to be addressed, and somebody mentioned accountability, and I really think Dhoni has to be held accountable, and I don't believe as long as Shastri is there as whatever his title is, Dhoni is going to be held accountable, and that's my problem with the team right now.
Okay, Ayaz?
Yeah, so I think, Dilip has raised a very valid, strong words, valid point. I think what's emerged on this tour, and everybody has been asking these questions from the outside, that between test matches and one-day matches, there seems to be a stark difference between Dhoni, the player, and the captain. He seems almost kind of, lost in a test match environment, while in a one-day match environment, he is sparkling. He's full of energy, ideas, bubbly, vivacious. But in test matches, he looks glum, lost, a little out of control, or completely out of control at times. Nothing to do with his batting. But his wicket keeping, his field placing, his bowling changes all seem to suggest that his mind perhaps is somewhere else. Now, whether that's because A, he does not feel his team can deliver, and it seemed often enough on the in the last series that they were not equipped to deliver. But that's where a good captain comes into play. And if you want Ravi Shastri to play that role, give everybody that injection of positivity, then frankly Dhoni is failing in his job. I would say that.
Right. Shishir, I'm trying to sort of now combine the conceptual and the real. The real question is, if Ravi Shastri were to kind of become a more active coach or take on that role, is he really qualified to do that?
Yeah, well, qualified, no doubt about it. He's played enough test cricket. He knows what it takes. He knows the problems of, like any test player who's been around for a while within the dressing room, about the pressures of failure and the environment in the dressing room, and suggestive measures to come out of those failures.
Right.
Just appointing him was a proactive step by the BCCI in terms of saying, look, we recognize there's a problem. And this is our first step towards ensuring that we can take some proactive measures to see that that we try and make a change somewhere. I mean, addition of one person, in the form of a junior backroom staff doesn't matter. But when a high-profile personality like Ravi Shastri, a former India captain, accomplished test player, comes into the dressing room, obviously there is a message being sent out that, look, all is not well, and that is why we've taken this step. Just take a scenario where India had won the test series. I mean, I don't think we would have had the induction of Ravi Shastri in this. So that was a clear message sent out by the BCCI that we appreciate that there's something wrong in terms of performance, and we're concerned about it. So this is our knee-jerk reaction at the moment to get Ravi in. Now, whether Ravi can, some hesitate from taking on roles like these, because and accomplished Indian test players, is because they realize that some things are beyond their control. Performance away from home is something that is not, and they have to get a lot of flack when the team does badly. So I don't know whether any player is very keen, or he understands very clearly that India is not going to be the same team away from home, or as a one-day unit they're a different unit, but as a test playing team. So would they be prepared to take that challenge and that pressure and the flack from the public and the media? Is a call that each individual takes. And when you have no option, you probably take it. But when you have an option of this versus just being in the confines of the comfort of a commentary box, one would tend to evaluate both issues and then take a call on it. But at this stage, I think Ravi's pretty much he's the type of person who will take on a challenge. So I won't be surprised if he decides, okay, let me just take this on and see how where we go. Right, and the only place to go from here is up, so I'll take it on. Okay. And that's something that I believe that he might do, because this one-day victory and this performance and drastic change. I mean, albeit one-day cricket, India has always been a good unit. This drastic change in terms of performances after the test matches would have given him some hope that, look, maybe it's my presence that could have made the difference. And every human being is allowed to believe in that, because suddenly there's a change. My presence has helped the team. So can I just go out and
actually
tell the
to
board
that,
or inform the board that
I need to just add to what Shishir is saying. Shishir, you've raised a point, but I think more significant, I mean, apart from the virtues that Shastri's got, and I can tell you one thing, he has got great pride in performance of what he's done overseas. Out of his 1100s, I think 8 have come overseas. So he knows what it means to perform overseas. So that apart, significantly what has happened is, after the tour, there's been no mention of Fletcher's support staff coming back. So you've got 3 assistant coaches in place, Sanjay Bangar, Bharati Arun and MV Sridhar, who are there. There's going to be no change in that. And those were handpicked in a sense by Ravi. I think that's a very clear signal even to Duncan Fletcher that your place cannot be taken for granted. They may not articulate it like that, but I personally feel that there is a signal from the BCCI that, there could be a change, So whether Ravi remains as cricket director or doesn't remain, I think what he puts down in his report, the advantage which Ravi had at this point in time for a short assignment, he knows all the cricketers, he gets along well with Dhoni, he gets along well with Fletcher, and he gets along well with N. Srinivasan.
Yeah. Right. So sticking to the theme, let's try and we asked some young folks in the city of Mumbai whether they knew who was India's cricket coach, and then the other point that Ayaz just raised about the support staff, because that also in some ways tells you what people think about the importance of the role of support staff. Let's hear them.
Ravi Shastri is actually good in it, so he can continue. He's old for cricket, but if he's in a good line for that, he can be a good cricket director for that.
I think he should, because being a former cricketer himself, he does not bring in with him the bureaucracy and all the politics which the earlier chief may be bringing in. It's more technical, and the team selection can be based on more criteria which are more important for a selection of a certain ODI team. And I think he should continue that, sir.
Actually, Ravi Shastri is good in commentary as well as hosting the show. So I don't know much about the director thing, but if he's doing, he will do good.
Ravi Shastri should get more matches to direct, because he's directed for 3 or 4 matches. So I think he should get more time and he should continue as the director.
क्योंकि देखा जाए तो अब तक उनकी वजह से हमने T20 वर्ल्ड कप जीते हैं, साथ साथ हमने वर्ल्ड कप भी जीता है 2011 में, साथ ही साथ उनकी वजह से बहुत सारे मैचेस भी जीते हैं, और उनकी वजह से हमारे पास MS धोनी कैप्टन भी है. और
रवि शास्त्री को क्रिकेट डायरेक्टर कंटिन्यू करना चाहिए, क्योंकि इनके वजह से हमने वर्ल्ड कप भी जीता है, और MS धोनी जैसा कैप्टन, और उनका बैटिंग और बॉलिंग के बारे में बहुत जानकारी है.
If Ravi Shastri is in a good line and if he's a good director, he should continue.
Everyone seems to be clearly rooting for them, Ayaz, for him rather. But I think the question is, when we talked about Fletcher, we said this is what Fletcher brings. Fletcher brings diligence, he brings statistical understanding, he applies that understanding to technique. Yeah, and he's a qualified coach, and some of those things are missing here. Right. So the larger question that we are asking, as we go forward, and the victory and the loss will be forgotten. What's the path ahead?
Look, I think clearly the BCCI, and this is not to do about Ravi, not personalities.
Yeah.
The BCCI has to spell out a vision. Are we interested enough in Test cricket to show that passion to go out there, win, compete, try and be the #1 team, which we were 4 years ago. But we seem to have squandered that position for, I think, a lack of, wanting, the hunger to win. I mean, when you look at Test cricket, you just can't go land up in a country and say, now we'll win it. You don't have that kind of a team. You're not the West Indies team of the...
As we've discussed, you are playing with for the first time, or
You have to
effectively
have
for
a
the first
certain
time.
game plan in place, a certain vision which promotes Test cricket, the culture of Test cricket, the desire for Test cricket. I mean, when Bodyline happened, Douglas Jardine planned for 2 years how to quell Bradman, and they went out and did it. So if you just land up in a series and say, we hope for the best, keeping our fingers crossed, maybe our young guys will do it, or our old guys will do it, you can never win consistently.
Right. Okay. Let's get 2 quick views in. Navneet, what's your sense? I mean, what would you be as a cricket enthusiast expecting in terms of strategy in this space? I mean, coach, director, whoever is sort of driving the whole cricket vision forward.
Like I mentioned, I think Ravi Shastri should continue with the team, but I think he should help the team out in areas that we are really suffering, and that's Test cricket. So I'd like him to expand his scope and stick with the team in all formats and see where it goes from there. Having said that, one question that I did have for Ayaz is, would Fletcher in any chance have any sense of security, insecurity rather, right now with Shastri stepping in? Would he know what his role is versus what Shastri would deliver?
Right.
Shastri going to step into his shoes or stamp on his shoes in any way with Shastri and Fletcher playing good roles? Sort of thing.
Right. Okay. As I'm going to give you the last word, Dilip.
Yeah. No, I think just to repeat. I am, as I've said on your show before, I'm a big fan of Test cricket, but I also think what Test cricket gives us is an examination of a cricketer's character or of his abilities, much more than any other form can. And I think that's the lesson to take from this tour. In that examination, Dhoni in particular, I think, has failed, and I think he has to be held accountable for that in some way. Until that happens, I don't think that Indian cricket is going to be better for it. So I mean, I'd like to see that accountability, and I don't believe Shastri is going to get it.
Okay. Shishir?
Well, at the moment, we are a confused lot. We are trying to mix our success in one-day cricket with our disaster, in fact, appalling performance in Test matches. I think it's important for administrators and more importantly for selectors to segregate these two formats of the game and some hard decisions be taken. I mean, let's not forget that Test cricket has been appalling. No captain has survived or been able to hold on to his captainship and leadership despite all these failures in the history of Indian cricket. Be it abroad, be it in India. That's something that Dhoni has been able to survive. I mean, and to be honest, he holds his place as a wicketkeeper and a batsman at the moment. But sadly, his performances don't suggest that the selectors have been. In a sense, stringent about his leadership. They've been relaxed, they've been lenient. But I think time has come for them to, and questions will be asked, is Virat ready for leadership? Boss, you have to decide to cross the bridge and then say, okay, let me first cross it. Take a decision to take a decision on change of leadership to then decide who's your next leader. You can't allow this to go on and on from series to series abroad. And this is where I think Ravi Shastri could be more candid. But whoever comes in as director cricket should have a say in the selection. I really believe that you can't work individually as with the team in a dressing room. You have to be co-opted with the selection committee. I know it's a difficult call, but it's very important from a team structure point of view. If Ravi Shastri or anybody XYZ becomes director cricket, he should have a say in the selection. I don't know whether he'll have a vote, but it's important for him to express what the captain needs, whoever the captain is. And that's the only way forward. And Ravi Shastri, for God's sake, don't make him a director cricket for India tour. Because we are going to win with Duncan Fletcher. India tour, don't keep him. Appoint him for a foreign tour, for Australia, the tough tours where the ball's passing your nose, where you've got to be ready for harder battles. Right. Playing West Indies in India, I can assure you, Ravi Shastri, Duncan Fletcher, even Sanjay Bangar will win you that series, and we'll be gloating about it. That's not the answer. The answer is is proactive measures to ensure we play well abroad in test matches and don't mix issues with T20 and one-day cricket.
Right.
These are completely different formats. Let's not get sucked into the success of one-day cricket and forget how badly we've done in test.
Right. Got it, Shishir. Okay, Ayaz, last word. We run out of time. Yes.
Well, just to kind of answer Navneet, I think any reasonable person would be, that suddenly he's been foisted on him. I think the advantage which was there with Ravi being in that position is because Ravi and Rankin Fletcher have played with each other, against each other in 25 years ago. So, and they know each other well because Ravi has been pretty much an extension in some ways of the administration. They get along very well, that much I know firsthand. So, in that sense, some insecurity would have been allayed or alleviated. But going ahead, I think it's very important for Ravi to take a call and for the administration that you can't have a coach and you can't have too many superstructures. So, whether there's a selector and then there's a cricket director, then there's a coach and there's a cricket director, and there's a captain there's also a cricket director, could be complicating things. As a one-off, it's worked. If it's a long-term assignment, then it needs to be rejigged and everybody needs to be told what their roles are.
Right. Okay, that we've run out of time completely, Ayaz. Thank you so much. Thank you, Shishir, Dilip and Navneet for joining us. Before we go, let's leave you with some questions we asked that young bunch there, and the answers are very interesting. So we'll leave you with that. That's all from me and Ayaz on Cricketomania. See you on Friday, same time.
Fletcher, Duncan Fletcher.
I don't know.
Sunil Gavaskar.
Cricket coach Duncan Fletcher.
I don't know.
No idea about that. No idea.
Bhuvneshwar Kumar और Varun Aaron. I don't know.
Sorry, no idea.
New support staff.
Srinivasan. Sharad Pawar, I guess.
No idea.
BCCI का president.
Shivlal Yadav.